just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Packer Up, boys. It's that time. Boom. Oh, man, that's good stuff. Ooh, that's an easy drinking lager. That's right, guys. If you're on your way home, big week of work, boss has been riding you, you're sick of it, it brings you no enjoyment, you're just doing it for the paycheck because you need to provide for the family, whatever it is, put it aside. Enjoy the weekend. You've earned it. There's no reason. Pack her up, boys. That's why it's called Pack her up, boys. Pack up it. Whatever negative stuff you have in your head from work, put it in a little box. It can be unfilled and unpacked on Monday. Enjoy time with your loved ones on the weekend, or your mates, or whoever it is. Have a bloke beer from your local, or have any beer. Just enjoy yourself because it's been a tough week and you've earned it. You have earned it. Grab a case of bloke beer. Beer for blokes that turn up, for family, mates, and good times. Aussie spirit in a can. Matty, how you been, bros?
Good. I don't get to the footy as much as I like to, or as I used to anymore, because, well, I just can't be bothered, to be honest. It's just I like watching it on TV now.
Yep.
But I went out to the game last night, and geez, that's a great stadium comeback.
It's so good.
It's amazing because I go the stadium I go to most is Accor, which I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
And in the last week, I've been to Allianz. So I went to the Roosters Tigers game, and went last night. And geez, we got some nice stadiums.
It totally changes the experience.
100%.
Like Accor Stadium is just not for rugby league.
No,
it is just not for it. No matter how much we say it, ad nauseum. Over and over and over, we get it. Government grants, paying, blah, 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 money. It's just not made for rugby league.
I mean, it was literally built for the Olympics. Like, we all know why it was built. There used to be a track there. Oh, God, I hate it.
Combank Stadium, though, like, you're in on the action. You can feel it. You can hear it. It's a great new stadium.
I bought the cheapest tickets yesterday, and I was behind the post, and the view was spectacular. Yeah. There's not a bad seat in that house.
It's so good. So good. Don't forget, guys, July 22nd, you can have a look at us. The hats, they are back by popular demand. The amount of people that were blowing up that they missed out the first time, we've brought them back, guys. They are back. Then this beautiful hoodie I'm wearing, green and gold. Get around your country. Get around your country. The Olympics are on. Plus, I mean, this is a beautiful hoodie. Anyone that got our last blue and maroon hoodies will tell you the design and the material. This is high, top-notch stuff. You can't get much better. And also, brand new shirts as well, green and gold. Also, brand new material, real high quality, guys. Get behind your country. Green and gold. You're kidding.
It's funny. We don't just say that. Like, the first thing you said to me this morning was, I love this hoodie. I can't stop wearing it.
Yeah, I literally cannot stop wearing it.
Yeah.
I've got maroon pants on, shorts on because they're so comfy, and they've got the green and gold bloody the hoodie on. I literally don't stop. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm not lying because go back and watch the last 2 weeks of YouTube, like the clips on the Spotify, the clips of the podcast. I'm literally either wearing the hoodies in maroon or green and gold, or the spray jacket, green and gold spray jacket, the first ever spray jacket we've done. That is also launching Monday, 6 p.m., July the 22nd. So make sure to be there. High quality stuff. It's the best way to support the platform, guys. And as I said, you're not going to get this quality in just any run-of-the-mill kind of stuff. This is some of the top-tier stuff. Cut and design. What's been going on, bro?
Yeah, just as I said, went to the game yesterday. I was going to go to Leichhardt tomorrow, but I organised it with some people to go to Leichhardt last weekend. But then I went to the Roosters game on Sunday and couldn't even hold a drink. It was so cold. And then yesterday, I love going, but it was a punish getting in and out. And I was like, you know what? That's enough for me for a while. So I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to my friend's house tonight. We're going to watch footy. And this weekend, I got no plans. So that's the ideal weekend for me.
Okay. Well, for me, I tell you what, speaking of topics, not like us, video dropped. Kendrick Lamar. What a video. What a video.
Yeah.
And what a moment in the video where it shoots to him and his family dancing in the lounge room.
Yep.
Like, that is just such a special, special moment because I believe that encapsulates the difference between Drake and Kendrick. Now, not to suggest that Drake isn't with his family or whatever, but it is something, it's that family unit that I think Drake desperately deep down wants.
Yes.
And Kendrick has, and money can't buy it. You have to work towards it. You have to be, you have to build it. And I think that shot where they're all dancing together, that's worth infinite money.
Yeah.
Infinite money.
It's kind of the nail in the coffin of this whole
I mean, the nail in the coffin was
Well, you're right.
ages ago. Ages ago.
But yeah, no, it was.
He is literally dancing on the grave.
Yeah.
Dancing on the grave.
His kids are now dancing. His wife is now dancing. That scene in that room, and it was. I love it. It was black and white. It was symbolic.
Oh, it wasn't black and white. It was
Wasn't
just
it?
no. It was like just a faded kind of old school color.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, still,
you know what?
Matt.
It might have started black and white. Well, you know what? We'll check because I'm pretty sure I've got it.
I'll tell you why I thought black and white initially is because before the video came out, there were like 4 still shots, and one of the still shots were.
Oh no! Wait, hang on a sec. No, you are right. You are right. It is black and white. I apologise.
No, all good.
I don't know why I thought it was like a faded, like a brown color.
I mean, it just came out.
That is crazy. But what's crazy is like how much your memory. Like I have the picture in my head.
Yeah.
Of it being like a faded light brown color. Holy shit, that's crazy. That is crazy. But yeah, great film clip.
The owl as well.
The owl in the cage.
Oh.
It was also released on I think July 4th, which is Independence Day for them. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, true.
Another thing is the snippet at the start. Holy, yeah. So it is black and white.
Yeah. The start bit was mad.
Yeah. Apologies, mate. It was black and white. Oh, that's crazy. I have literally the image in my head of it being like a faded brown color. That is insane. The snippet at the start of the song, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Maybe because his last album with his family on it, it isn't faded brown, but it is. It was more like a brown.
A brown
color.
palette. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. So that came out. The snippet at the start of the song sounds hectic. So he's clearly got an album coming out.
Yeah.
He's clearly got an album coming out. Unless it's like a message to Drake, like, listen, if you're thinking of going again, bro, don't like it's even in the song he's got it stacked up. So what a win from Kendrick. I got to say, like, I don't listen to Drake the same anymore. Like when I hear his classic songs, it is tinged. Now that may pass because, you know, there's no denying, regardless of what you think of Drake as a person, which I've never been a fan of him as a bloke, as an artist, he makes good pop music. Like it's that simple.
I can respect his success, but you can ask anyone I know. I've been a hater since day one. I've never liked his music. I don't have anything. I haven't had anything against him until this beef. Really, I've never found his music exciting or even.
Yeah, I think there's
palatable.
a difference. Like a difference between you not liking the music, because I don't like most of his music, and saying he has bad music.
I've never said he's got bad music.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think of Drake as a person, like dislike him, not like him, whatever, he makes good pop music.
Yeah.
It's like that simple.
Well, it's the facts are there, like the numbers.
But also there have been pop stars that you could sit there and say, look, this is manufactured bullshit. Like Drake has released over multiple decades different types of music. Now, has he stolen a lot of it? Yeah, he's vultured a lot of it, but he makes good music. But looking even some of his hits that I'm like, yeah, I don't mind. They're just tinged for me. Now I may move past that. Like this may be just a sign of the time, but yeah, definitely tinged for me.
Man, and like I get it. If Eminem was getting like reamed like Drake is, I'd be defending him as well. But the Drake fans online at the moment, they're clutching. They're clutching so hard. Pretty much saying like, oh, you have to drop his name to stay relevant.
That's honestly, that's so like you are so delusional. That's actually we're talking about Kendrick Lamar, like 11 Grammys or something like that.
I think it's like 17.
He has
Grammys.
an album that is literally studied at universities. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I wouldn't. If Eminem got washed, Eminem gets washed. Like, it's just the fact of the matter. Like, I would defend it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if in the battle it was a close battle, I'm sure my bias would make me lean towards.
Yeah.
But I've always been of the mind of like, as good as good. I remember, like, even last night I put up that meme of Liam Martin standing over the Queenslander. Just a funny meme. And then someone wrote like weird post for a Queenslander, and I was like, what? Like, you got to like a Queenslander respects a good hit. We love that's Origin. And so like I've never been of the mind that like if you're on one team, you can't say positive things about the other side.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. And my first reaction to anything is to lean towards my bias. But I think I said on Wednesday, I think Roosters are premiership favourites, and I hate the Roosters. So like I I completely agree.
And so, yeah, Drake, he makes good pop music, but for me, I've never been a fan of him as a bloke. But yeah, Kendrick is actually just an incredible film clip, incredible moment. The concert, the pop-out concert was amazing. Algorithm check. What'd you say?
I was about to say, it's been a good year for hip-hop because we've got Eminem album releasing next week.
What do you think of his latest song? Big Sean and Baby Tron.
I'm sure, like, it was good, but I've been hearing Eminem features for 4 years now. I just want straight Eminem. And I don't mind if there's features on the album, which there will be. But I didn't love that was released as a single. I think we discussed, like, he's obviously gassing Baby Tron or whatever his name is. I love Big Sean. I love Eminem, but I didn't love that was the single. Didn't feel like his song to me.
It's definitely grown on me. I like it now. Initially, I was like, yeah, it's good sonically. Sounds good sonically. The beat is cool. I wish it dropped. The more I've listened to it, I like it. I like it.
Actually, I think the music video comes out today.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Alrighty, algorithm check, mate. What's on the algorithm this week for you?
Basically that, like all the Eminem rap stuff. It's funny. We were looking at our Explore page the other day, and I don't look at my Explore page often. And for some reason, mine's just full of Simpsons. And
for some reason, it's because you engage with Simpson content.
Well, yes, that is correct. Yeah. So I guess for a point of difference, my algorithm is all Simpsons, which I absolutely like. I love the Simpsons. So.
And explain to the listener, like, what the Simpsons. Why is it the Simpsons? What?
So okay. So two things. Firstly, it's just like, oh, sorry, my phone's ringing. I'll just cancel that.
Jeez, podcaster. First you throw out a vague The Simpsons, and then your phone's ringing. You gotta work on the podcast game, bro.
Yeah, sorry, my apologies. So I'm part of a group with two of my friends. It's just called Simpsons content. I think this is obviously why it's hit my algorithm. And I reckon every day in that group, we all send each other like just reels of like, 10, 15 seconds of funny Simpsons stuff, mostly Homer. And we just like annihilate each other with that. So it's just funny Simpsons clips from the show from years gone by. And I guess that's obviously why it's all my Explore page because, yeah.
The Simpsons.
I love The Simpsons.
So like.
I'm such a cartoon. Like I annihilate The Simpsons. I think I watched South Park last night. I watched Rick and Morty.
So listeners, if you ever thought that, one of the biggest podcasts in the country would have some kind of deep, esoteric, algorithm. No, the producer of one of the biggest podcasts in the country is literally consuming The Simpsons.
It's funny, on the DMP yesterday when you guys were talking about all that deep stuff, I actually remember thinking, man, I just watch cartoons. Seriously.
Holy shit. So you still watch The Simpsons?
I annihilate. I watch probably at least one cartoon every day.
Yeah. What cartoon?
At the moment, I'm going through South Park. Yeah.
How old are you?
29.
And look, I have nothing against, like, I believe that, cartoons get the bad rap of being child's stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that is true at all. Like, cartoons, a story is a story. The medium in which it is told is irrelevant. Like, cartoons get a bad rap and they get associated with kids, but it's actually not the case. You look at anime, all that stuff. Yeah. But it is funny, like, such a, like... 28 years old and once a day you're watching just pure like really low level funny stuff.
I think it must be because of that. Like I just don't have to engage with it because I kind of...
Do you engage with any stuff that makes you think?
Not really. No. Not really, no.
Oh fuck.
No. I mean I do smack a lot of audiobooks, so that makes me think.
Okay.
I've got a finance one going on at the moment.
What are your audiobook now?
Oh, it's called Strong Money Smart. It's this Australian guy from Perth who like he's got financial. It's really, I think it's pretty big. He's got financial independence at like age 30. Strong Money, I think that's what it's called.
And what's it about? Give us a synopsis.
Basically, it's about no matter what point you are in your life, like what you have to do to be financially independent within a certain amount of years. And it's like, it goes through like property, it goes through shares, but it also goes through like, if you literally are in debt at the moment, what to do, certain things that you should do. So it's a lot of advice, but it's incredibly objective. Like he doesn't just, he explains what he does, but he also explains all the options that you can do and kind of the pros and cons. He's very unbiased, which is nice. So I think it's called Strong Money. It's really good.
Okay.
So that makes me think.
Okay. Okay. So strong money. What's been your favorite audiobook you've ever listened to?
Ooh, favorite audiobook. You know what? Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO have you heard that or read that one?
As in the you're talking about the podcast Diary of a CEO, or
Yeah, but it's his book.
Yeah, no, I don't read any of those like financial books and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, right.
I actually, matter of fact, I only read fiction.
Fiction, so
As in,
the non-real
fantasy.
one.
I don't really read that much anymore, but I'd rather watch a documentary or consume that content via visual medium rather than read about it.
Yeah,
Whereas like reading about it, what I like when you read about it, you can use your imagination with fantasy and fiction. Whereas like if you're reading about finance or even a biography, you're not really engaging in your imagination to a degree. Whereas the good thing about fantasy is like you're truly escaping. You can escape into a world built in your own mind. Whereas a documentary, because you don't have to use your imagination in like by reading it to a degree. Like you still have to use it to a degree. So if you're watching that, instead of reading the serious stuff, if you watch it, then you actually you're viewing. You can just view it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure.
So, yeah.
It's funny though, like that fantasy just doesn't, and I don't know why, but it just doesn't do it for me. Like in anything, like you guys talk about House of Dragon and Lord of the Rings and that all the time, which I've just never even watched. Like it's interesting how, just for some reason, like I don't care about that, but like you absolutely love it.
I can't believe you watch a cartoon a day. It's so funny.
The best.
Okay, don't forget Sportsbet feed. Give us a follow on the Sportsbet feed. You go to more, go to feed, type in down and give us a follow. We got an incredible bet this week. It's my Origin hopefuls, Queensland Origin hopefuls. It's Kalen Ponga, Dan Gagai, and Fafita, all to score a try in round 18, and that gets you $25. So you go to my feed, give us a follow. You can copy that straight away. Plus, I've got 5 or 6 other multis ready to go, ready to copy. Hopefully, we get up this week. Been a tough run for us recently, so hopefully we get up this week. Give us a follow on Sportsbet. Massive thank you as always to Sportsbet. Gamble responsibly, guys. Don't go crazy. Just looking across, if you don't realize when you do a podcast with Matty, he's always doing these things, or like he'll move forward like that, or just doing weird shit in the corner of your eye. Just literally whilst I'm talking right then, he was doing that. Just randomly.
I don't even realize.
Oh, it's a good. Okay. You know what? This is going to be a Debbie Downer. So I was on radio just before Morning Glory with Matty Johns. And so at the end of the show, our producer goes, all right, guys, 1 minute to say goodbye, because you end the show.
Yep.
And then it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like, imagine if you had 1 minute to say goodbye before that's the end.
Oh, wow.
It fucked me up. And I'm still emotionally rebounding from the depths of that moment. And I was like, holy shit. What would you do? What's the first thing that comes to your head when you say 1 minute to say goodbye? And that's the most important thing in your life.
That just made me so sad.
Fucking sad, bro. I'm still emotionally recovering from that shit.
I remember the first time, the only time my missus went overseas without me, and she was going for 4 or 5 weeks, and her flight was at 6 or 7 in the morning. So she had to go to the airport at 3 or 4, whatever. So I was so devo that she was leaving that I stayed up all night with her and then dropped her to the airport. I remember driving home thinking, it's all right. This is the longest time in an hour. It'll be 1 hour less. That made me sad. If I had 1 minute, I'd have.
She went overseas for what, 6 weeks?
4 or 5 weeks.
Holy.
That was, and I hate the term honeymoon phase, because if you leave the honeymoon phase, you're not in a real relationship. But we were in the depths of the honeymoon phase at that point.
Hang on a second. If you leave the honeymoon phase, you're not in a real relationship. Unpack that. What do you mean by that?
Well, the honeymoon. If you're not in that honeymoon phase forever, then what are you doing? I don't. My honeymoon phase with Courtney hasn't changed since day one.
How long you been together?
We're coming up to 3 official years.
So you reckon in 20 years, if you should still be in the honeymoon phase?
Okay, I'm talking for present me at the moment. I don't have that much life experience.
Because the special thing is there's actually something deeper than the honeymoon phase, and that is our lifelong partner.
Yeah.
And being in the honeymoon phase forever, Jesus Christ.
Well, okay, maybe that is just the definition of having a lifelong partner.
That's such a bold statement. If you're not in a honeymoon phase forever, you're not even in a relationship.
Oh man, I didn't even think of that.
Holy shit!
I truly, I stand by it, though. I stand by
You stand by it?
Yeah, 100%.
Fuck.
Maybe not in 20. Okay, if you're 3 years in and you're already, you'd rather be doing other shit, then what are you doing? Come on.
I think your definition of the honeymoon phase is being very vague.
Yeah,
it's only natural that a honeymoon phase, it changes. It's a relationship. Relationships grow and change. That's so funny. So 1 minute to say goodbye. I was like, holy shit, it absolutely rocked me. So that's a good question. Hey, this weekend, if you're getting them 1 minute to say goodbye, who immediately came to mind? Spend time with them, baby.
Yeah.
Spend time with them. Because it would be a hectic 1 minute.
Yeah. God, that's a sad thought. That's really sad. Fuck.
I can't believe. Oh, you're not in the honeymoon phase. You're not in a relationship. Fuck, that is a bold statement. Matty, the relationship guru, smashes the rest of the world. Not married, no kids.
Hey, can I say something as well? So last week we were speaking about marriage and stuff, and you were like, oh, when you drop in the knee, blah, blah, blah. And I made the grave mistake of telling Courtney, I'm like, oh, we spoke about this on the podcast. And she goes, oh, is that right? And she's like, I'm like, what'd you say? I'm like, I'm not telling. And she's like, oh, whatever. And then the next day, she was like texting me updates of like every 5 minutes. She's like, that she was listening to the podcast. She's like, oh, I agree with Dan on this housing thing. Yep, I agree with that. And like just giving me updates on the podcast. Yeah, but she was happy with me. So that was good.
Oh, how good. I forgot to tell you guys, Shandor, he's obviously in Canada, with his air locker stuff. So he'll be back next week. I'm pretty sure it's next week.
I think.
But don't forget.
Yeah.
Alrighty, South defeat the Eels 32-16. What a performance from South. And geez, I tell you what, like Ben Hornby, after he took over and they lost a couple of games, he basically kept saying in press conferences, like, I just want the boys to go out and have fun and enjoy it. And even I at that stage was like, geez, I feel like that's the last year Warriors. I feel like that's been the problem. They've been not serious enough. How wrong was I? They look like a happy, very, very glued together side. 5 on the trot now. And I know people are trying to like, oh, it's against teams that aren't as strong at the moment or whatever. Look, at the end of the day, it's 5 on the trot.
Well, Souths are coming last.
Yeah, so it's like,
come on.
let's appreciate the fact that it's 5 on the trot.
Yeah.
And so 5 on the trot, 32-16. And I do feel for like essentially, after probably the 60-minute mark, maybe a little bit earlier, like they had the game in control. Maybe even a little bit longer than that, to be honest. Like, put it this way, watching the game, aside from maybe the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I was like, Rabbitohs have this game under control.
Yeah, even when Eels, because Eels had, I don't know what the exact stat is, but I imagine, especially the first half, Eels had way more attacking ball. And they never look like scoring. It's like South, I know their attack wasn't on last night at all, but...
South's attack wasn't on.
No, Eels.
Oh, Eels.
Eels' attack was not on at all. But they were...
I was like, I thought it was 32 points.
No. South were good. But they were just turning Eels away easily. Like, they never... Yeah, it didn't look troubling at all.
Eels fell into their old trap of just side-to-side footy.
It was. And you know what? And I know we can all see it. We can all see it watching TV, but you don't normally get to watch the game sitting behind the post. And that's what I was doing. And it was even more evident yesterday. I was like, what is going on? They're just going side to side.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And like Mitchell Moses has that tendency, like he gets so competitive that he's just trying to score.
Yeah, and it wasn't until the last 10 or so minutes where they finally decided to straighten up and they actually looked okay.
Well, look at the try assist with RCG. It was around the ruck,
exactly,
off the ruck. And so, yeah, just it's funny. I sent the bloke group a text message and no one bid on it because they're all little salty fucking sooks. I sent a text message to the boys. Hearing whispers Cody Walker will be brought in for game 3 because he just outplayed Mitchell Moses. This is how salty bitch these New South Wales are in this group chat. Not a single one replied. You sooky, salty little bitches. Didn't even want to go. Didn't even want to say fuck off because you're like, oh, fuck you.
And like, I've had such a tough year for South, and they just had a win, and I was like, I'm not. And I'm pretty sure not only did I not reply, I think I just texted something completely irrelevant.
Texted something completely different. Guru didn't reply, and Timmy didn't reply. It made it even funnier because I was like, you little sooky bitches.
Classic
you don't even want a bit of banter. You couldn't even come back with like, something about Queensland, like, pick and stick, nothing. Not even a reply. So good. So good. Because for people that, well, you wouldn't know, but I often throw out, I often text into the group text things to piss off the boys.
He throws in grenades.
Just to piss the boys off. Sometimes they bite, sometimes they don't. Well, most times they bite or they at least banter back. This time it was just crickets.
And the good thing about having Hammy in the group now as a Queenslander is he always backs you up in just like the sneakiest way possible that only he can do. It's infuriating.
Oh, how good. In regards to the Rabbitohs though, outstanding performance. Latrell Mitchell just in everything. In everything. I've got to say, I'm going to sound like a massive, massive hater. It was close to an 80-minute performance, but there was one play that I was like, oh, he just switched off for that play, and I wish that, the try that I think Gutho came across one side and then they basically ran into a dead end, and I forget who scored it. He may have kicked it or something like that through the middle. And when Gutho went down Latrell's right, Latrell was like on his bike. He was chasing. But then when Gutho went back the other way, Latrell just stopped and started walking. And I was just like, that little thing, I was just like, if he could just... And when I looked at that and looked at his whole game, I'm like, I reckon by the end of the year, if they keep going on this run, that won't be in his... I reckon he's going to build towards a point where he won't even have that tiny moment. As I said, outside of that though, that one little error, he was phenomenal.
He was great.
It's one of the best I've seen. Like, I know he's had games with better stats than that. I understand all that, but it's one of the best games I've seen Latrell play.
Yeah.
From a point of, like, even like the game was on the line, like even after that play. So he had that little lapse of concentration where he didn't run back across. But even after that, he was making plays where he was diving on balls and, chasing everything. There was even a play earlier in the game where I was like, that is so good to see from Latrell. Okay, so 5 minutes in the second half, Latrell, he has a try-saving tackle. He immediately gets up and he sprints to help defuse a Moses bomb. Like, Latrell at the start of the year is not doing that.
Yeah.
There's no way he's doing a try-saving tackle, immediately getting up and sprinting. And I know there are going to be people out there going, other fullbacks do that all the time. Other fullbacks aren't built like Latrell.
Yeah.
He is a different fullback. If there is one part of his game that is a bit of a weakness, it is the coverage behind the line.
But even when he was like fully killing it at the back end of 2022, and South lost to Penrith in that prelim, people were like, all right, Latrell's killing it, but his positioning at the back is off. So even when he was killing it a few years ago, he wasn't doing that.
It's the only weakness in his game.
Yeah. So
it's the only part of his game that if you could just... And that's what I loved about the performance last night, is that for 99% of the time, he actually had fixed that. It was only one little lapse. And that one little lapse, by the end of the year, if they keep going like this, I think it'll be gone. That's how much I like Latrell's performance. And I know I'm being super nitpicky at looking at that one try, but it's because we're talking about Latrell Mitchell here, like one of the greatest outside backs to ever play the game, in my opinion.
Yep.
If he just clears that one little bit, we're looking at it a beast. Like what he will do by the end of the year, if he keeps on this trajectory upwards, will be unbelievable, truly unbelievable. So I thought, I love Latrell's game last night. And it wasn't all the try assists and that. We know he can do that. He can do that in his sleep. It was all the little things that he did last night that I absolutely loved.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. I just want to shout out kind of the unsung heroes that even guys that I've been critical of and sometimes don't think should be in the team, but the three guys in the back line, Jacob Gagai, Tane Milne, especially Tane Milne, and Richie Kenner. So I guess if you told me before this, 2 months ago that, South were going so poorly and these three guys, not so much Gagai, but certainly the other two in the centres were going to be...
it was a Bryce Cartwright try that I'm talking about, that one.
Oh, yeah. But those three, especially Tane, have just been killing it lately. They've been not only doing their job, they've been fantastic. So it was really, really good to see.
Jacob Gagai, 2 tries, a try assist, 115 metres. So all you just mentioned, they did their job, were fantastic. I'm stinging because I thought, like Alex Johnson, I thought he was going to get 2 or more, and it was Gagai that got 2.
I know, wrong.
Killing me, wrong side. What about Cody Walker, Jackie Whiten? We said this for so long at the start of the year. Now, don't get me wrong. To start the year, Lockie Ellis and Cody Walker, that was my combination.
Yep, me too.
But then it got to the point where I was like, at some point, you need to throw the book out of all this structure nonsense. And I do feel like sometimes coaches get caught up in this modern era of like structure, numbers, science, all that shit. And sometimes you just need to strip it all back and go, who are our best players? Okay, Cody Walker, Whiten, Latrell Mitchell. Put them in positions where they get their hands on the ball more than anyone else. Then once you do that, then build outside of that. Then look at changing things. I'd understand if the Rabbitohs had to come into the year and killed it. Of course, you keep Lockie Ilias and Cody Walker in those key positions. But they didn't. They were struggling. And so you go, all right, we're struggling. We need to reset everything. Ever since Whiten and Walker have been 6 and 7, it's been night and day for how they perform. It's literally a different team.
Yeah.
And it's been a masterstroke. And the positive is that they'll be together again next year, most likely. The positive as well for South is that obviously you've signed the guy from England.
Yep.
But if this works, then you've got a 6, 7 and a 1 that are top tier.
Yeah.
A top tier. And so you don't have to worry about whether the English player coming over can play NRL or not because you've already got your spine sorted.
I'm not going to lie. That did worry me. When we signed him, I'm like...
Well, it should. He hasn't proven that he can.
Exactly. Yeah. So, totally agree.
And so, I just think that, Jackie Whiten was outstanding.
I'll tell you what, the way that bloke, and we all, he's done it for 10 years, but the way he can straighten up an attack, he is so unbelievably tough, Jackie Whiten. It's just, he's such a beast. And last night was probably his best game of the year.
For the Rabbitohs, for sure. Absolutely. He was outstanding. Cody Walker was outstanding.
Keon with 200 metres again.
Mate. And I'm glad that they started. I actually don't mind starting Cam Murray on edge and bring him into the middle.
Yep.
Because what have I always said with Cam Murray? That you need to protect him from himself.
Sure. Yeah.
So if you take him out to the side, you've got really good defence to start the first. So the first 20, if Cam Murray isn't on an edge, the Eels win that battle because they have the field position. Maybe they do score a couple of points because he isn't on an edge. And so I actually because when he got picked there, I thought they were going to keep him there the whole game.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, bro, don't do that. But having him start on an edge, what you do is, you tighten up your edge defence. He's literally one of the best defenders in the competition. But B, you keep him out of the washing machine of that first 20 minutes. He doesn't have to do all the shit work, all the tough work in the middle, and then you bring him in the middle fresh. I love it. I think it's genius. And Cheekham came on and played well. And then when he went into the middle and you had Keon and Murray in the middle.
That was scary.
It was like beast mode.
Yeah.
Like pure beast mode. So
Because I when it first happened, I was trying to figure out what was going on. I was like, well, is Keon...
you said he would start there. You said they would move him in. You didn't think that he would start.
No. But I thought, and then when he moved in, I thought, all right, maybe Keon's playing prop. But then Tommy Burgess came on and I'm just like, fuck, they're all just in the middle here. Yeah. It was good to see.
So I really like that from Hornby. I tell you what, Benny Hornby, he deserves a massive rap.
Yep.
He's doing his credentials. If he wants to be a head coach, mate, he's 5 on the trot.
It's crazy.
He's taken over a team that looked terrible, like so bad. Couldn't win a match. They're now 5 on the trot, and they look not only whether they make the 8 or not is almost it's relevant, but it's irrelevant to what I'm about to say. The key is they're playing top 8 footy. Like whether you want to say that they've beaten teams that are out of form or not, what you can't deny is the standard of rugby league they're playing at the moment is top 8 rugby league. And so for him to be able to do that in such a short period, his credentials get a massive
It's
rep.
actually insane. 2 months ago, I was like, we're getting the spoonie. I can't see a way out of this. And even when South signed Wayne, my first thought was Wayne's not going to be able to fix this immediately.
He's going to have to clean out.
Yeah. And now, as long as Hornby, which he looks like he's doing, is putting South in a good enough position for next year, making the 8 would be great. I actually do reckon it's irrelevant. Like, if South come 12th or 11th or 9th and they're showing better signs and Wayne's coming in next year, then so be it. Like, that's so... I would have definitely taken that 2 months ago.
Yeah. So, really, really good stuff from the Rabbitohs. Exciting stuff.
Can't wait to see next week because, everyone's... obviously, Souths are going really well, and everyone's kind of saying, "Oh, Wayne's calling the shots already," which maybe a little bit he is, but not really. But Souths are playing the Dolphins next week.
Huge.
So that's going to be interesting.
Huge game. But I just think that all the boys, like they've just grown another foot. Like you got Cam Murray 134 meters, Jairo 139 meters, Keon 221 meters, Keon Kolomatangi 108 post contact, 108 post contact. It's outstanding.
I'm pretty sure that was his first game in a while that he didn't play 80.
Yeah,
really. God, he's got.
So he did that in 69 minutes. Holy shit!
Oh my God.
He would have run for like 250 meters if he had stayed on.
I like what they're doing with Tallis Duncan to a degree, only because they've done it with Dave and Wiley, like the slow kind of progression. Yep. But man, when
they can afford to now.
Well, yes, they can.
Whereas at the start of the year, they couldn't afford to.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting there going, like, guys, you're getting absolutely pumped. At least give this rookie some game time so you're building towards the future. Whereas right now, it's like, well, you're killing it. You don't need to rush him. You don't need to give him game time because he's going to get it eventually. And also, there are players in front of him that are just playing better footy right now. So you wouldn't. So
man, superstitions are so funny because to you, they make a lot of sense. But when you look at someone else doing a superstition, you just think, what the hell are you doing? The fact that Tallis Duncan runs on with a headgear and then just takes it off kind of immediately every week, it's hilarious.
It's so funny. It's a good little trademark thing to have.
I love it.
So, yeah, great stuff. And as I said, Latrell Mitchell's game for me, outside of that one little, tiny lapse, outstanding. And, geez, he's in for a big one, game 3, I reckon. He is in for a big, big game. 3 line break assists. It's just, when he's on, there's no one like him. There isn't. No one that big and explosive has ball playing his ball playing is as silky as our best number 7s, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen it before. I've never seen a guy as big and as explosive as that with the genuine ball playing as silky as our best 7s in the game.
It's outrageous. What he can do is nothing short of incredible and far out. It's a pleasure to watch when he's on.
Eels. Look, they actually didn't play that bad. Like I didn't watch that game and go, holy shit. And I think also like the Rabbitohs are playing much better footy. So it's like the Eels are playing a top 8 footy side right now. But it still is the fact that they are on the bottom of the table. It's been a disastrous year. We're hearing rumbles about, Mitchell Moses and the stuff that happened last week. I tell you what, if Mitchell Moses goes up to Suncorp and wins a decider and Eels keep going on this trajectory, I think there's going to be some tension there.
I think so too.
I think that Mitchell Moses is going to be sitting there going, hang on a sec, I'm 28 years old, 27, 28, whatever it is. I want to win premierships. And we've already heard whispers that he's basically, the implication was, first of all, the fact that this got out is outrageous. The fact that a locker room chat got out within hours, or not hours, but like days of that locker room chat, that's outrageous.
How does a conversation in the dressing rooms get out like that?
Like the dressing room is sacred. It's sacred. You should not be, stuff like that should not be getting out. But it has gotten out. And I guess the gist of it is like basically Moses saying we've got to get ourselves out of this because we're not getting any help externally or from the club or whatever. Now, whether that's true that he said that or not, like it hasn't been really denied to a degree. So it seems like it's kind of on the money. And to be honest, the roster management from the Eels club since that grand final, it hasn't been up to par in my opinion. No. And we've spoken about this since it happened. And I'm not sitting here pretending like the Eels should have been able to keep everyone. This is what happens to teams that make the grand finals. Look what happened to the Broncos. We could be having the same conversation about the Broncos in a year where we could be going, they sort of somehow found a way to keep Flegler or Herbie or whatever. We could be having that conversation. But right now at the Eels, they lost key players, in my opinion, that they should have found a way to keep them or if they couldn't keep them, they should have had a plan in place to be able to replace them. Not necessarily with as good players, but with players that are going to step up and at least play a role. And I just don't think they've done that this time. I think their depth, for example, in the halves, the fact that they went through a whole period without Mitchell Moses, they refused to play Sanders, then they did play him, then they dropped him, and they put Blaze in there. Then the fact they don't have just a good, solid 7 to come in and try and do a job was very surprising. The fact that the 9 role has been so up in the air, these aren't just like random positions. These are key positions.
Yeah, and Yeah, since the grand final, there's just been one after the other, and I think the latest one, which we're all talking about, is this whole coaching thing. Now, apparently they have decided, but all I could do, I was sitting next to my friend Nick yesterday, who's an Eels fan, and we were talking about what changes do the Eels need roster-wise next year. And then we were like, well, even if they have picked a coach, how can they go out and get people for next year when they haven't even announced a coach yet?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's strange. And also to sack Brad Arthur before they have someone essentially ready to go, I don't understand how is that smart business decision?
Yeah.
We talk about the Sharks a few years ago when it came to Morris and the fact that Morris was moved on very quickly. And we didn't like the fact that he was moved on like that. Give him a chance to see the year out. I understand why they don't give coaches chances to see the year out, especially Brad Arthur, because if Brad Arthur was still coach, Mitchell Moses come back and they kill it, then they can't sack him. I understand that. But at the very least, if you're going to sack a coach like Brad Arthur, you should have someone basically ready to go straight after.
Yeah.
And that was the difference between the Sharks situation and the Eels situation. They had Craig Fitzgibbon ready to go after that. Now, granted, it's a different position because Morris hadn't taken him to a grand final and all that stuff. Brad Arthur has been at the club for the longest serving. I get all that. But surely a smarter decision for the club would have been having someone ready to go, at least at least narrowed down to a couple of people.
Yeah.
It seems outside looking in, like they basically sacked Brad Arthur and then began to look for a coach.
I think that's...
And so whether you want to go, well, hang on a sec, they were trying to go after Wayne. I'm pretty sure I recall them saying that Wayne quite a while ago said that he wasn't interested. So they already knew that he wasn't going to come to the club.
Well, I remember because I was watching it closely because he was coming to South. Wayne coming to South happened on, let's call it a Wednesday, and Arthur got sacked on a Monday. Now, I'm sure all this stuff happened in the background, but Brad Arthur did get sacked 2 days before Wayne signed with South, and surely by then it was done that he was signed with South.
The decision to let go of him was already done.
Yeah.
And so the idea, granted, guys, you always know, the players have to take responsibility for how they've played. So the Eels players, they have to take responsibility for how they played. But that doesn't mean that Mitchell Moses' points about the club also not playing as well as they should have played over the last 2 years. And I mean the club is in the admin. We talk about the players' performance. What's the administration's performance been like over the past few years? And I don't think it has been great. I don't think it's been great. I think they built extremely nicely. They had some really strong processes in place to get to a grand final. But I think it seems anyway, again, we never have the insight, guys, so there's will be way more to the story, but it seems to me anyway that they haven't handled the last few years very well at all. I think that I do think Mitchell Moses' frustration is warranted, and I think that if it continues and he goes up and kills it in game 3, I think that frustration may continue to grow. Because Mitchell Moses seems like he wants to win premierships.
Of course.
He's 28 years old. He does not have long left in the game. So hopefully some clarity is sorted sooner rather than later. Because as I said, if this vagueness and uncertainty at the Eels goes on any longer and they stay at the bottom of the table and he goes and does something that like literally one or two other halves have ever done.
Well, the last one was Joey.
It's going to get even crazier.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very, very tough time for the Eels going forward. It's going to take a very strong leader. And it's going to take, I believe anyway, an administration to be honest with themselves and not just point to the players and go, oh, you're the reason that we're going poorly. They're part of the reason. Obviously, they're the ones that go out and play. But administration also play a role. And I think it's going to take a very honest administration to go, you know what? Yes, the players can improve, but where have we let them down? How have we not created an environment for them to be the best they can be? Because you look at that roster and it should not be on the bottom of the table. Perfect example is the people that they played, Rabbitohs. The Rabbitohs were in an environment at the start of the year that was not giving those players the best opportunity to be the best version of themselves. The environment and decision gets made. A very strong decision, all the drama around it, and look what happened. They are not different players to what we saw at the start of the year. You know what's changed? The environment.
Yeah.
And that is where I think the Eels need to have a real, really look, who am I? Like these people that run the Eels, much more experienced, way more successful in business than me, all that. But from just a rugby league perspective, I don't believe the environment has been the best for them to be the best version of themselves over the last couple of years.
Yep, I agree with that. And I think their decisions, even before the grand final, like getting rid of like I think it started with Reid Marnie, and then a few things since then kind of reflect everything.
And I know there's a lot of Eels fans go, "Oh, Reid Marnie got offered a Mozza to go somewhere else." Whether he got offered a decent coin to go somewhere else, what I am very close to, not certain, but I'm really pretty sure he was offered massive unders to stay at the Eels, and it almost forced his hand to go like, I'm on the cusp of Origin selection, taking the grand final.
And like I know it's different. I know Damien Cook's at the end of his career, and it was devastating to see him go to the Dragons. But at least South have Mamazelos there ready to go next year. Like that's the plan. Like what was the plan after Marnie?
Like the timing of the signing of Hodgson, that was after the whole Marnie thing. Again, like who was the next guy up for the Eels? Now maybe they had someone, he got injured or he went to another club. But again, it seems to be a similar thing to what happened in the coaching situation.
Yes,
exactly. Coach gets sacked. Who's there ready to go? Like you've made this decision to move someone on. Who's the person that's supposed to be taking that spot up? So hopefully the Eels can turn it around. The good thing is they've still got a good roster. And I think that going forward they probably need to have a look at their squad management as a club and tweak quite a few things. To be honest.
Yeah, I think there's a few fires they need to put out in that squad.
Anyway, so I think that some tweaks need to go with the roster management. I think that they need to sort out a 9 as soon as possible. Now, Hands has shown a lot of improvement, but even a guy like Hands, like he's only just been brought back into the side. He was sitting in reserve grade for so long. So, he was a guy that was brought from Penrith. Maybe that's who they thought was going to be a long-term replacement. I'm not sure. But if he's going to be the long-term replacement, why did Hodgson get bought from Super League?
Yeah.
Lussick. Why did he?
Lussick, yeah.
So it just seems like, okay, we bought Hodgson. He medically retired. Granted, the Eels can't predict that. But then Hands is being brought across. Okay, he looks like the guy. Well, actually, no, we're bringing Lussick in. Okay, no, he's not the guy. You know what I mean? It seems
and
like...
now they've blooded Arthur.
Now Arthur is there. And there's, I guess some people said, they've just been waiting for Arthur to be ready. But it's like, you can't wait for
2
blokes.
years ago.
You can't wait for blokes to be ready. Like, that's crazy. And so hopefully Arthur is the guy coming through. But just like I was saying with Blaze Talangi last year, make sure their development is good. How many players have we seen come in with all this promise? They play for under-19s, New South Wales or Queensland, and they're at a club that's struggling and their development is just so poor. That's where you go back to Brad Arthur, who was one of the best player developers in the NRL.
Yeah.
And so,
true.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. So, as I said, to cap it all off, the players obviously bear responsibility for their performance for sure. But I do think the club needs to be honest with themselves about how they've handled the last few years and have they been performing to their best ability to give the players the best environment. Just like the Rabbitohs had to fall on their sword. They recently extended Jason Demetrio, had to come to the grips with, okay, this is not working. We made the wrong call. Since then, they look like a different footy side because the environment has changed.
Absolutely.
Don't forget, guys, use code BEST for $7 off your menu log this week. He's our hungriest player, the big fella. Use code BEST for $7 off your menu log this week. Download the app today from the App Store. Takes 2 seconds. Really easy to use, guys. And as I said, you get discounts every single week. And if you're going to order food to your house, it literally, not only are you getting discounts, but every time you do that with the discounts, you're supporting Bloke. So if you're using other platforms, you may as well just use menu log because you get, you're supporting the podcast that gives you hours and hours of content. If not, I'll go fuck myself. That's all good. I'll just go fuck myself. Okay. Now there's been recently it's kind of flared up, but Dylan Brown is signed to the end of 2031. This is the first year of that contract. He has some options in his contract, including 2026 and 2028. If he wants to go somewhere else in 2026, he needs to decide by round 10, 2025. Same for 2028, need to decide by around 2027. A rumour was floated the Roosters want to make a play for him. This is what I'm talking about in regards to poor roster management. From a player's perspective, get the best contract you can get because you can look across the league and see how many players are getting tapped on the shoulder and brushed. From a club's perspective, though, signing him on such a long-term deal, surely that's we just spoke about how, they didn't hold on to Reid Marnie. And they offered him massive unders. But this is the complete opposite of that, of going, we're not going to just not offer him unders. We're going to offer him a 10-year deal with multiple options for him to leave if he feels like it, that's going the complete opposite of the Reid Marnie situation of going no confidence in the club, or to say to Dylan Brown, mate, we've got a 3 or 4 year deal offer for you, whatever it is. You know, if you want to be here, that's the offer we're going to give you. We're not going to. If you've got to show that you want to be here, this 10-year deal, like, why do you need a 10-year deal or a 9-year deal or whatever it is? How long is it?
It's an 8-year deal.
8-year deal. Why do you need an 8-year deal to stay with us? Surely you've got faith in us, and surely you want to be here more than putting us in that position than forcing an 8-year deal on us.
To me, they gave him a 2-year deal. They gave him a 2-year deal, 24-25.
No, they gave him an 8-year deal. He gave them a 2-year deal.
He gave them a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Like,
and so the only
crazy
thing I can think of that maybe it was doing the club a favour, the 8-year deal. And so salary cap wise, they've spaced out they've gone, all right, we're going to pay you massive unders right now. But because we're paying you massive unders, we're giving you an 8-year deal. So you're sacrificing your salary now, but as the contract goes on, obviously it goes up. So he potentially has done them a favour by going, all right, I'll take massive unders now to stick together. I want to stay with Mitch Moses. I want to stay with Gutho. For in the long term, it working out. Again, it's still just not a healthy deal for your salary cap. It's just not a healthy, So I just don't understand it. Put it this way. Tell me any of the top tier clubs that do deals like that. They just don't. They don't. So, as I said, the only thing that makes sense to me is Dylan Brown did them a favour by saying, all right, I'll take unders, but I want some security. Otherwise, why should I take unders now? And then in 2 years' time, you brush me or something like that.
Yeah. But they're just not doing themselves any favours. Like, we're talking about it. This is going to be talked about until he re-signs next year. So look, 2 examples where it went each way. So Kalen Ponga he had options in his deal or whatever, and that dragged on forever. Same as David Fafita. Then on the other side, Jackie Whiten signed until the end of 2025 with the Raiders. He had 2 player options. He got out of there. It just brought all this unwanted attention everywhere, and that's what's going to happen again.
And I just don't understand the length of it. Like, surely there's going to be some... Right. Yeah, as I said, the only thing that makes sense to me is he has taken massive unders to stay, like massive unders, and he's basically said, okay, if I'm willing to sacrifice now for this contract to be at this club, I want some assurances later, which is smart from Dylan Brown. That's what he should do. But that again suggests to me that the salary cap is all out of whack, that you have to offer him so much unders that you have to give him an 8-year deal.
It feels like Eels offer everyone unders.
I just don't understand it, because Mitchell Moses is not on $1.4 million. Gutho is not on $1 million. Like, so what I don't get, I just want to know, like, their salary cap. Why is it so out of whack?
Yeah.
That you can't afford to offer Dylan Brown, say, $700,000 a year. I don't get it. You don't have a number 9 on Bitcoin, and people go, oh, their front rowers are on Bitcoin. Front rowers are always on Bitcoin. Like, that's nothing new. You know, front rowers have been on $1 million before. Like, there's been reports that some of the best front rowers in the game right now are on close to 800, 900K.
Well, AFB's been on $1 million for a while.
Been on $1 million for a while. Payne Haas has been on about 800K for a few years now. Yeah. Now, maybe you make the argument that both RCG and Polo are on $1 million each. Maybe they're not. I doubt they're both on $1 million. But again, that comes back to you shouldn't have 2 front rowers on $900,000.
Yeah. If we do get an answer, we're still going to say, well, that's wrong. That shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, like, if for example, if you go, okay, well, the reason why they can't offer Dylan Brown a big contract is because Junior Paulo and RCG, they're on $900,000 each. Well, you've made a mistake there.
Yeah, exactly.
I think RCG and Junior Paulo are outstanding players, and if they could play 80 minutes, I think there's no way the Eels would be in the position they are. But the problem is when they go off the field, the next people that come in just can't seem to go at that standard. But that's where you have to make some tough decisions and say, boys, we can only afford to play one of yous, that big coin. So we have to make that decision. And whoever, wants to go somewhere else will help facilitate that. Having 2 front rows on that big coin, it's bad roster management. Again, it all goes back to administration making poor decisions, in my opinion, when it comes to their roster management.
Yep. Big time.
So Tell you what though, Dylan Brown at the Roosters with Sam Walker.
Holy shit.
Holy shit. Mate, Dylan Brown, he's a weapon. Him last night, some of the plays he made, he is an absolute weapon.
Look, I said at the start I wasn't really phased about the Eels because I was going side to side most game, but that last 10, 15 minutes, it was all him. He was,
14
he's
runs,
so
139 metres, 35 post contact, a tackle break, a line break assist, 20 tackles, only one miss.
Can I also random, but so the penalty where South got a dropout and it hit Sean Russell's boot and then South got a penalty. Why is that even a rule? Like, why can't who cares if it doesn't go 10? Why can't the Eels go for that? I don't understand. As in the attacking team. So South drop out.
Yeah, I know. It's a weird rule.
I don't understand.
Just quickly, Madison was big on the edge as well for Eels. I've got to say, I thought the ref last night, I got to give him a massive rap. It's funny, I wrote a note here, and that 2-on-1 steal on Tom Burgess, I was like, what is the ref looking? You got two touches, the ref and the bunker, and you just saw Tom Burgess get it ripped out of his hands with two people on it. And so I was like, okay, look, it happened in the heat of the moment, or that these things happen. But I wrote, great call from the ref on Moses to send him 10 in the bin. Yeah. I thought that was a great call. It was brave. It was the right call. Moses was intentionally laying on the ruck to try and challenge. They have been told last year, if you do that, you're gone. I don't mind. Like, honestly, if a player, let's say the ref calls 6 again, and then the player just intentionally takes the piss and lies in the ruck because they've already given a 6 away again, I'm happy with 10 in the bin. I think you're taking the piss then. Because what players do, if they've given a 6 again away, they go, all right, well, we've already given a 6 again away, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lay here as long as possible to set our line, because then it's just a start of another set. Yeah. We're all good. And so that 6 again almost becomes pointless to the attacking side because the ruck's been slowed down so much. I thought it was a good call from the ref.
I think it's a good call because what you explained right there, that should be what a professional foul is.
Yeah.
It's completely on purpose. Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, I liked it.
And there's no grey area if it's on purpose. Like, it's genuinely... I will say, Richie Kenner at the end there.
Oh, very lucky.
Bro. See, I don't mind... That's a 50-50 one where I don't mind that wasn't 10 in the bin because there's no way he's getting to that ball. Like, there's no way. And it didn't affect the play at all. Whereas the Mitchell Moses one, it affects the play. Yeah. Like, whereas that didn't. There's no way he's getting to the ball. It went out anyway. They got the repeat set anyway, whatever. But I was just like, with Richie Kenner, I was like, bro, how long have you been playing first grade? And you know that that's always going to be a penalty. Like, that is always a penalty.
It's always a penalty. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was shocked he wasn't sent for 10.
I'm good either way because it did not affect the play. Now, if he had a chance to get there, put it this way, no matter whether he was blocked or not blocked, that was going to be a repeat set. Because it was a repeat. It ended up being a repeat set, correct?
It was a penalty, yeah.
It was a penalty, yeah, sorry. And so what I mean by that is like, it didn't affect the play, so therefore to get 10 in the bin for something that had no bearing on the outcome of what was about to happen.
True, yeah.
It's like, why? What's the point of that? Whereas, like, for example, the Mitchell Moses one, it did affect the play because it completely stopped the play. He literally laid on him for example, let's say Mitchell, let's say you're not allowed to push someone's head when they're playing the ball, and then you get sent 10 in the bin for pushing someone's head. That's very different to pushing someone's head that's 30 metres away from the ball and it has no effect on anything. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. Yep.
So I think effect on the play should hold some bearing as to whether someone gets sent 10 in the bin.
I agree with that for sure.
And that's where, like, the nuance matters. So I thought it was good from the ref by being strong on that and going, mate, like, you've laid in the ruck, blah, blah, blah. So good on the ref for that. Don't forget, guys, KO's got you covered this footy season with every game of every round live and ad break free during play. Some key games this weekend include Cowboys vs Manly, Roosters vs Dragons, which are exclusive to Fox League and available on KO. Plus the grand final rematch, Broncos v Panthers, which is live and ad break free during play. There's plenty of room for everyone, so get on board with KO, now also available on Hubble. Also, don't forget to join Finland. Join Finland at finland.com.au. Alrighty, Perth, North Sydney. The Daily Telegraph are reporting that North Sydney Bears and Western Australian Rugby League powerbrokers set to agree to a franchise partnership. Talks have progressed after North Sydney softened on their list of prerequisites. Newtown Jets were also in talks, but backer John Singleton confirmed they have pulled out. Before we get into it, though, don't forget, guys, July 22nd, a couple of Mondays away, Monday, 6 p.m., green and gold hoodies are dropping, green and gold shirts, the hats are back, and also green and gold spray jackets. Perth and North Sydney, look, the more I've looked into this and the more I kind of learnt myself about everything going on, and like, you know, from a purely rugby league perspective, it's very easy to get caught up in just the rugby league perspective and not looking at the business side of rugby league. And the more I've learned about everything, the more I've learned about what goes into a club and how important the financials are of it, I think Perth is the correct decision.
Yep.
I think the PNG situation, they're probably a bit away from getting that sorted. It seems quite rushed, especially with just, there's a lot going on in that country right now, and also doing deals with politicians is always a bloody, you just never know what's going to happen. Perth, there is a lot of money in Perth, like a lot of money in Perth. And it makes us, you know, it crosses the whole country to a degree. I know there's still other states that we wouldn't be in and territories, but I think Perth's the right answer. The travel is going to be the tough one. The travel, you know, traveling 5 hours all the way over there. But I think that this may be the right call. I like it.
I like it too. It seems like because of the whole time zones that the TV networks would like it. So, I mean, they're going to get a say. It's the next TV deal. It depends on it. Yeah. Yeah, I think AFL have 2 teams over there, so it's a huge state. South play a game there most years, and they always get a healthy crowd. So they've got a strong base over, like a strong enough base over there. So yeah,
No, I like it. In regards to the playing over there, I just think that it just opens a whole market to us as well.
Yeah.
Like Perth wouldn't even think about rugby league unless Origin's over there. Or a game goes, you know, and look, are they going to get the turnout they get to the 1 or 2 off games they get? Of course not. Of course not. It's going to take time to build it. But I just think a whole state around one side, like,
yeah,
there's so much opportunity. Okay, so it's a biggest state, like it's a big state, sorry, not biggest state, but also there's plenty of money around it. Like all of the things, ingredients you need for a rugby league club to succeed are there. Now, doesn't mean that it's not missing some ingredients like the love for rugby league over there, but it's got the money, it's got the population, it's got the lifestyle as well. Getting players over there might be a little bit tough initially. That'll be interesting to see how they go there. But I think it's probably the right decision. I think it's too early for a second New Zealand side. It's a small country. I don't know if they've got the financial backing to be able to sort that yet. I think the PNG, I think that needs more time. I think the obvious decision is Perth.
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll end up seeing another Brisbane team. Perth surely has got to be the other one. And then I'd put another Brisbane. Oh, sorry, for the teams 18, 19 and 20.
As in 2 Perth sides?
No, another Brisbane side.
You said Perth, surely another one.
Oh, did I? Yeah. Sorry. What I meant to say was I think we'll see another Brisbane team. We'll see a Perth team, and we'll see a New Zealand team. I think that'll be the 3.
Yeah, okay. And that will take us to 20, do you reckon?
That'll take us to 20.
Yeah, I don't know about another Brisbane team just yet. It'd be interesting. You don't want to get in the same situation that the Sydney's in, where they've got too many teams.
True.
And granted, that's still much less, but you're basically then you're looking at having 3 teams in Brisbane, which is a much smaller population than Sydney, and can you get the population of Brisbane and the population of Sydney? Because basically we have a problem in Sydney with having 6 or 7 teams with the population they have. We would have the same problem if we had 3 or 4 teams, because Brisbane population is like half of Sydney maybe.
Yeah, even less.
Even less.
Like just under half.
And so how many Sydney sides would you say there is?
There's, according to the last census, 5.3 million.
How many Sydney teams though? Like we consider Sydney teams?
Oh, Sydney teams? So I think there's 7.
There's 7.
Yeah.
So it's less than half, you said.
Yeah.
So we would be, if we went 3 teams in Brisbane, we'd be getting close to the exact same problem that Sydney have.
True.
Which,
I haven't thought of that,
if we had 4, no, we actually, you know what? We would be actually at the exact same problem, because it's less than half the population of Sydney.
Yeah.
3 is just less than half of 7.
True. Yep.
So like, I don't know if I think that like we've got a sweet spot there. You know, don't go and put another team in Brisbane. If you had to, you maybe go out Ipswich ways, but I think there are other places you go before a 3rd team in Brisbane.
Yeah,
I really
fair enough.
do.
And look, I'm not from Brisbane, so I don't really know the geographical ins and outs. I'm probably just going off, I heard, and this is obviously biased because I've heard the pitch that Shane Richardson gave James Graham on the bye round a year or 2 ago, and And look, I think Shane Richardson could sell ice to Eskimos. So he convinced me. So I understand that, but that's where that came from there. But if we're looking outside, let's say we're looking outside of Brisbane, certainly Perth for me.
I think Brisbane, Broncos and Redcliffe have like locked that state down. Like, as in not state, sorry, that city down for sport.
Yeah, city.
We have to look at expanding the game. So, yes, could Brisbane maintain another side? Potentially. The money may be there. Everything that Shane Richardson said is probably true. But what is the point of expansion? To expand the game into areas that we are not strong in currently, in my opinion. It's not the only priority, but it is one of the priorities. I think the second league team has done that enough in Brisbane now. Like, I think it's enough. So we need to look at, okay, where are areas where, we can't just keep going back to the well of Brisbane or Sydney or whatever. We need to look at other areas like Perth and, all that, to expand the game, because we want to grow. We don't want to just keep dominating the areas we already dominate.
Yep.
And so Redcliffe made a lot of sense because it's, out of town. It's about 45 minutes away from Brisbane. They've already got an incredibly good young junior base. And also, we have to remember, yes, Brisbane Broncos had the city locked down from AFL, but another team is just going to help make sure that whole area is kind of locked down. 3 teams, maybe you could argue, will lock it down even harder, but I think that if you've got the Dolphins and Broncos there, very hard for a league fan to slowly drift across to AFL.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas if you've just got the Broncos there, if you don't like the Broncos, you might just go, you know what, I'm going to the Brisbane Lions. So yeah, I think Perth is the right decision. I think it's the right decision. Alrighty, you can watch all these games on Kayo. Before we get into the Tamate Martin reports that a couple of clubs are after Tamate Martin. His contract is end of 2025. So on November 1st, he can talk to other clubs. Look, I think the Warriors will lock him up.
Surely.
Be very, very shocked if he decides to move somewhere else again after having moved already. He's been at the Panthers, he's been at the Cowboys, at the Brisbane. Seems like he's at home in New Zealand. They've got, it's not like they've got another guy just sitting there waiting to take over from SJ. I think he's the obvious choice at the moment.
I hope so, yeah. And he's playing so well, and it's such a remarkable story. Like, he retired a few years ago.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's
from
ridiculous.
A brain injury.
Oh, outrageous. So I hope he stays. I really, really hope he stays, just for the sake of the Warriors.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My wife just sent me a picture of my son pulling a funny face and his little teeth are starting to come through.
Oh, wow.
So funny. So funny. Biggest dad now in history. So dadded up. All you think about is your son.
Yeah.
Sorry, all you think about is your kid, whether it's a girl or a boy, and your family. It's literally just all you think about.
He would be nearly 1, wouldn't he?
He's about 10 months now. Maybe 10 and a half months now.
Wow.
Crazy how quickly that's gone.
Yeah, seriously.
It's insane. Alrighty, picks, Sharkies, Titans. Who you going?
Sharks, 13 plus.
13 plus, wow. So on Sportsbet, Sharkies paying $1.33, Titans $3.34.
I thought Brimson was coming back, but he's not.
He's not.
So
Broncos, Panthers paying $2.36, Panthers paying $1.60.
got a weird feeling about Broncos. Can't shake it. I'm changing my tip to Broncos.
Okay. Bulldogs, Warriors. Bulldogs on Sportsbet paying $1.51, Warriors $2.58.
I love I love Bulldogs at $1.50.
Tigers, Storm, Tigers $3.11, Storm $1.37.
Storm.
Cowboys $1.71, Seagulls $2.14.
Cowboys, but I agree with Tom and Eddie. I think Tommy Turbo's going to score.
Okay. Sydney, I've got on the feed, I've got Tommy Turbo 2 or more.
Ooh, love it.
Roosters, Dragons. Roosters $1.24, Dragons $4.10.
Roosters, but Dragons with the start.
Raiders, Knights. Raiders $2.26, Knights $1.64.
I don't know. Probably Knights, just because KP's back.
What's going to be the pub ammo this today?
Oh, true. Should we do a non-footy one again?
I think keep it non-footy for now.
Okay.
I think keep it non-footy for now. Basically, what we're doing, guys, is pub ammo for Bloke Beer and Bloke in a Bar each day to grab a case of Bloke Beer because everyone loves a bit of pub ammo.
Oh, yeah, it's the best.
Being able to dominate your mates with a random fact is that is alpha mode. Just you're sitting around having a few beers and you just pepper some bloke. He thinks he's talking mad and he's talking about some fact everyone already knows, and then you just pull a random fact out of nowhere. That's dominate alpha. You may as well whip your bloody cock out on the table. That's how dominant that kind of stuff is.
The best one I've heard is, I'm pretty sure it was said on DMP once, is that you statistically can't ever shuffle the same deck of cards twice.
Wow.
That I didn't believe it. I Googled it and I'm like, well, that's just, I don't feel like that's true. But then it was.
The craziest one, random fact, is dogs' mouths are cleaner than human mouths.
I know.
And human butts.
Ugh.
That's crazy.
That again, it's one of those things. It's a fact is a good fact if people don't believe it at first. Because that doesn't.
And I think that's butts are cleaner than human mouths. Something along those lines as well. Wow.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. What's the plan for the weekend, mate? Are you going to tell other people they're not in real relationships unless they're in the honeymoon phase forever?
Forever. You have to be in the honeymoon phase forever. Watch as many cartoons as possible. Watch rugby league.
You do live with the missus?
No. So,
okay, let's just to the people. You're not married.
Yep.
You don't have kids.
Yep.
You don't live with your missus.
No.
But if you're not in the honeymoon phase, you're not in a relationship.
Look, I don't live with her. I don't live with her, but I'm with her most of my time. And yeah.
That is so Matty. That's something that only you could possibly say. Only you could possibly say. I tell you what, House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
Man, I fucking love that show. It's so good. It's so good. The problem is I can't talk to you about it because you don't bloody watch any of that shit.
I know.
You only watch cartoons. What do you speak about when you speak to your friends? Let's say if you had a ban on cartoons and rugby league, what would you speak about?
Ooh, cartoons and rugby league. I actually, seriously, probably like gambling on other sports. Like I'm in a punters club.
Sport or cartoons if you had that blanked out?
I'd have to go looking for new hobbies. Seriously.
What?
Yeah. I tell you what, TV shows, but I love like things that can be real, like can be true in real life. This is why I don't like fantasy, because like I like watching stuff that I know could happen. So like I'm addicted to Power, the whole Power universe. Because I know that shit goes on in New York. So,
yeah, but so for example, good fantasy, it's for example, House of the Dragon. It has dragons, but the things that happen, the politics that happen, does happen in real life.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And so, you know, I get the idea of like, because it's fantasy, it's not real. But that's even fantasy, good fantasy, or even anything well written is based on themes that are real. Themes that are real.
Look, maybe I just have to give it a crack because I simply just don't. I just don't watch it.
So you watch Power?
I love watching
Power. How many seasons is that in now?
Well, it's a whole universe now. So Power, the actual original show's done, and then they've had 3 spin-offs, which get released at one point every year. So there's pretty much 3 seasons a year because they're 3 different shows. So
are they in the same timeline, all 3 shows? Or are they just separate?
No. So one is about the 50 Cent character, like back in the 90s. So one's set in the 90s, and then the other 2 are set in like the same day. Present day.
Okay, so there's spin-offs, but just about characters. They're not spin-offs as in they're in the same timeline and same world.
Same world. You know what? It's kind of like the seasons have just continued with those 2, to be honest. Like they're not really spin-offs because some of the characters overlap and yeah.
Some of the characters overlap.
Like in the spin-offs, the main character, Tommy, in one spin-off, he's sometimes in the other spin-off at the same time.
As an older person or something like that?
No, same time. Like yeah. Because
so they are in the same timeline or they're not in the same
Two
timeline?
of them are.
Okay, so 2 of them are basically 2 different TV shows, but they're in the same universe living.
Correct, yeah. One's in Chicago, one's in New York.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And whereas the other one...
The other one's set in the 90s.
Same universe, different time.
Yeah, it's a prequel to the original Power series.
Yeah, okay. Okay, what's another TV series that you like?
So I absolutely smash funny sitcoms. Like I just finished Schitt's Creek. I've watched Seinfeld a few times, watched The Office a few times.
You just rewatch them? Yeah, wow. That's crazy. Well, there you go. Matty, he's all sorted. He's watching The Office all weekend and rugby league.
Mostly rugby league.
Mostly rugby league?
Yeah.
All right. As usual, guys, grab a case of bloke beer. It's a beer for blokes. A turn up for family, mates, good times. And I'll go and fuck myself. Thank you.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.